Hey there, cozy babe, and welcome back to the most cozy corner of the internet. I'm Kloee Taylor, and today with this pick a card, we are going to find out what this eclipse season is bringing to you. We have a new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Libra coming up on October 14th, and a partial full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus on October 28th. Eclipses are like moon phases on steroids. They're not good or bad, they're just a little bit louder than a typical moon phase. More details about this over on my Patreon if you want to know the ins and the outs for your rising sign. We are going to suss it out and get to the bottom of it with today's pick a card. If you're new to pick a cards, allow me to give you a brief introduction. So starting from left to right, we have pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, and pile number 4. Each of these piles represents an option for you. So you're going to decide which one of these suits you best, and I will give you some more selectors in a moment to help you decide if you're having a hard time. But then once you have the pile that you are wanting to go with, you're going to click down below in the description and see that there are timestamps available to you. You're going to click on one of those and head right over to your reading. Now, if you need a little extra help deciding, I did go ahead before this reading and actually roll the astrology dice for you. Pile number 1, you have the 3rd house of Gemini. Pile number 2, you have the Sun. Pile number 3, you have the 11th house of Aquarius. And pile number 4, you have the astrological sign of Pisces. It doesn't mean that you are this sign. These could just be signs that mean something to you. They're just meant to help you make a selection. I'm going to go ahead and leave those on the screen. You can go ahead and pause the video here and make your selection, or you can sit with this for a moment with the music that I'm going to have here. And then when you feel ready, go ahead and click that timestamp and you'll be taken straight to your reading. I am going to begin in just a few moments, starting from pile number 1. All right, pile number 1, if you chose the 3 die, if you waited for that, let's go ahead and see what this eclipse is going to be bringing into your life. What kind of change is going to be coming? So right away, I can see that we have Temperance. I'm going to lay these out first and then we'll read them. The Queen of Swords reversed. The 9 of Cups. The 7 of Pentacles reversed. And the Ace of Cups reversed. Okay. So Temperance being at the heart of your reading, I do feel like you're playing a little bit more of a balancing act, which, you know, doesn't really surprise me, especially as this eclipse season is really starting off with, we're in Libra season. You know, Libra is literally the balancing scale. That's like Libra's whole thing, whole vibe, whole kit and caboodle is trying to be a bit more of an equalizer or a balancer. So this doesn't really surprise me at all that you would receive Temperance, because Temperance is about creating more balance. And also it's like creating alchemy in your life, creating pure alchemy where in your life, maybe there hasn't been a strong balance of self versus other or other versus self. And so creating alchemy, the way that you do this, sometimes it does happen under pressure. Meaning they say that, like, you know, a diamond is created under pressure. Alchemy is the same way. You take past experiences that maybe have been really painful, but you turn them into golden wisdom. And this is something that I believe all of us have the capacity to do. Sometimes it just takes more searching the depths, more understanding the self and unpacking more of the depth before we can fully get there, embrace it, and understand it. Okay. So this ultimately, though, is going to be something that you'll be learning with these eclipses over the next 18 months, is really how to make more space for others and yourself. But like, I feel like for you, I'm definitely getting that maybe you have only ever really made room for yourself. And I say that because we have the Queen of Swords reversed. And this is normally somebody that, like, almost unabashedly, like, will say whatever, set whatever boundary, be more aggressive outwardly. And because there's a reversal of this, I feel like there's a backpedal of outward aggression. Okay. And then with the Ace of Cups being reversed, I also feel like you're somebody that typically is really good at pouring into yourself. There's nothing wrong with this, by the way. I want to make that very clear. There's nothing wrong with being selfish. There's nothing wrong with being full of yourself, not to like a toxic degree, but there's nothing wrong with tending to yourself first. That's why they always tell you, you got to secure your oxygen mask before you can secure somebody else's. When they go over like plane safety precautions, right? When you get on an airplane, it's okay to take care of yourself first, but I do feel like there hasn't been much of an equalizer in that in your life. You've done a lot of that, and now it's kind of time to turn around and to create more of a balance with that. To create more of a balance with learning how to tend to yourself, but also be part of a community, be part of a friendship circle, be part of a family, maybe, whatever kind of group that you're stepping towards. It could be any of those, but you're learning how to have the appropriate boundaries while also giving more of yourself to others. Now, when I see the Seven of Pentacles reversed, I also feel like this tells me that the search is over. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not that you'll never hit another stride of searching yourself, learning your soul, learning yourself better. It's not that you'll never be in that again. But I feel like over the last long while, you have poured a lot of time and attention into yourself. And it's allowed you to explore a multitude of avenues. Maybe you even completed a degree and have moved into a different field than what your original degree was. Maybe you've tried on a lot of different hats. The Seven of Pentacles upright is kind of testing all of those things, I feel like, in the physical world. So when I see a reversal of that, this is really more the energy of finding solid ground. It's not tending to a bunch of things. It's actually deciding to consolidate and tend to the things that are the most important to you. So you're not scattering your energy anymore. Something else that I'm seeing, and probably the most exciting thing that I'm seeing so far, is this Nine of Cups. Now, the Nine of Cups is such a fortuitous and favorable card. It is the card of pure manifestation. It is receiving the manifestations that you have been calling in for a really long time. Like, if you feel like you have not caught a break, or you feel like you have put so much intention, so much work into what you are wanting to create in your life and nothing has happened, the time is finally coming where good things are going to start happening. You're finally at a place where you're going to see a manifestation or several manifestations all at once really materialize. So let's see. We also have for you this card of go for it, reach for the moon. So this is also about like shooting your shot. If you feel like maybe you really want to be friends with a certain kind of person, get into a relationship, maybe you even want to reconnect with a family member. I'm hearing Spirit is saying some of you actually really want to reconnect with your mother or a mother figure or a female figure in your life that's really important, maybe even a grandmother. You want to connect. Ooh, some of you I'm hearing that if it's a grandmother figure, she's possibly passed on already and you want to connect with her like in the spiritual realm. And Spirit is saying that over these next 18 months, you're actually going to get the opportunity to advance in your spirituality to the level that you would be able to do that. But Spirit is also saying that this is your time to go for it. If you have a dream, if you have something that you've been wanting to move towards, if you just needed to know that it would be successful before you tried, this is your sign that it will be successful. You will manifest what you put your work into. And this is your sign to go for it over these eclipse cycles that we're having. Next, we have the moon's moment, synchronicity. And this card, it's all about like signs and symbols that are going to come to you because of basically like divine symbolism. Like it's kind of like how if you see like 11:11 on the clock or 1234, 333 or 444, those are what are considered a synchronicity. And it doesn't have to be symbols like that. It could also be like you were just talking about something or someone and suddenly they appear, like they're at the store too, or they call you on the phone or you receive a text message from them. Like the moon's moment synchronicity, this is about you're going to feel so led by spirit. It's going to become undeniable. I feel like many of you that chose this pile, you maybe have lost the feeling of like magic and mysticism in your life and you have felt really blocked off. Spirit is saying that the synchronicities are going to start coming back and you're going to start to believe in good things again. We also have cold moon, face your fears. And with this cold moon, face your fears card, what this tells me is you're finally ready to face something that has been difficult for you. And when you face it, that's when all of this stuff is going to unlock. So it's not to say that these eclipse seasons that we're going to go through over the next 18 months are going to be easy for you. I don't get the inclination that they will be. However, they are going to be worth it because you're going to face something that you never thought you would have had the strength to face. And I'm not saying that like something horrible is going to happen to you. It's possibly an old fear that you've carried for a long time. And it's going to become so easy for you to push beyond this that you're going to wonder why you were ever scared in the first place, basically. This could even come down to like telling your parents something. I'm hearing like there's people that you keep a lot of secrets from about yourself because of fear, but you're going to start to really become a lot more unapologetic. Even though I see Queen of Swords reversed here, which does tell me that you're less likely to speak your mind constantly. To me, I really see this as a downplay of aggression. I see this as a downplay of like in the past you would get defensive or angry. Now you're just speaking your piece and you're kind of done with the drama of it all. Okay, next we have emotion, cucumber. And I see in this card we also have the astrological sign of Cancer. And so this also tells me that like a family, something to do with family is going to come to a conclusion. Like if you've been having a lot of difficulty with family, if there's been family struggle for you, this eclipse season is actually going to bring those things to a close. You're not going to be dealing with so much family difficulty anymore. And you're actually going to have your emotions really cleansed from those things. So you can like basically take a sigh of relief here when it comes to your family. And then we also have the card of success with peppermint. And I love that we have Libra and a key here because again, I really feel like whatever is coming up for you, which I do feel like it may be a little intense. I'm not gonna lie to you, with that face your fears card, it's like that, facing that is what brings you to your point of success. It's what allows you to actually make more money, manifest what, like, especially money, because I do feel like peppermint and basil as well, that looks very similar to this plant. Basil as well, they're very good at manifesting like money. They're herbs for money. And Spirit is saying that when you overcome your fear, when you start to meet people with less aggression, when you turn your past that maybe has been quite traumatizing, to be honest, into solid gold, it's going to allow you to be so much more successful. And you're actually unlocking your success at this time. We also have a couple of cards that are just like below the surface, but that's what the deck is called. And also I link all the decks that I use down below. But these next couple of cards, they're... I feel like they're like stuff that they're maybe, again, they're just below the surface. They might be things that you're not even consciously aware of. So we're going to bring them out. So first we have common octopuses, common octopus, octopi, I think is how you say it, but the card says common octopus. Solve problem. Your mind is your most significant advantage. Okay. So what this says to me is the biggest way through for you, pile number one, is actually going to be through your mind. And whenever I see things like this in tarot card readings, this always tells me that it's going to be self-concept work that is going to be really helpful for you. You might be somebody that really deals in the realm of like emotion work or psychological work. And this, I'm never going to discount psychological work. Like that is something that I think will always benefit everyone. But here's the thing. It's the same way that like when you read a lot of self-help, if you're not integrating anything, it doesn't actually help you. And I feel like the same thing, you can speak to somebody every single week, but if you're not embodying or integrating what you're getting from that, it's not actually going to help you. And Spirit is saying like, what I'm getting channeled directly from Spirit is you've spent a lot of time pouring into like the emotions of it all, dissecting things, ruminating over your past. And Spirit is saying the time for that is no more. Not to say that you can't always dip in there and learn things, but it's time to work on who you're going to be now. It's time to work on the beliefs that you have about yourself right now. Looking to the past only can help you so much, and you've done a lot of that. And Spirit is also saying to me that you're going to be able to solve any problem if like you have done the work that it requires to move forward. But in order to solve the problems that you're dealing with right now, you need to work on the things that you believe about yourself right now, not the origination of where those came from. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big believer in you don't just like, if you are a garden, you don't just cut the weeds off the top. You have to pull them out from the root. But I also think that oftentimes that creates so much more work for you that it's almost not worth it. It's easier sometimes to take a little bit of a shortcut sometimes. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I'm never going to tell you not to do the psychological work. I think it's such a benefit. It's so valuable. But if you find that you're still ruminating on the past and it's been going round and round and round for years, it might be time to just step into the person that you want to be now and work on your self-concept instead. And next we have Broad Club Cuttlefish, Rapid Changes. And this card says, let your flexibility serve you. So with flexibility, rapid changes, I do feel like over the next, like not even just the 18 months, but over Libra season in general right now, you are going to be changing dramatically. Like it's almost like, again, you've set all these intentions and didn't really see much come back to you. But then all of a sudden, it's almost like a doorway opens for you during this eclipse season and your whole life changes. Like I'm talking like Spirit is showing me it's like your wardrobe changes, your weight changes, your hair changes, what you do on your day-to-day life changes, the way you speak about yourself changes, the way you speak to other people changes, your house, your physical home, because I also see that you have a number 4 and another number 4 here, which corresponds to the home. So I'm seeing like numerology 44 or 44 might be a lucky number for you. There's going to be such rapid growth and change after a time of such stagnancy for you that this eclipse is going to be welcomed for you. I also have for you this card of conception, which let me read it first and then I'll show it to you up in the camera because your girl wears glasses, so I kind of have to read things a little closer to my face. The frequency of conception invites us to bring our consciousness to our origin, the place where everything in creation begins. It helps us to remember the infinite potential and possibilities of this space and what we can manifest through our own focused awareness and intention. So again, what this tells me is you need conception, self-concept, conception, concept. Like the word concept is in there. You need to work more on your self-concept, not necessarily on ruminating on the past like you've always done. And I think ruminating on your past and healing from your past has actually served you quite well a numerous amount of times. But it's like you've reached a new stage in your life where that doesn't work for you anymore. And now you need to find a new way of doing things. And that's normal. I think it happens to everyone. Don't beat yourself up about it. The good news is that there's a lot of information out there about self-concept. Like a quick Google search, YouTube search will give you a lot. So changing your self-concept is really where your focus is going to be. And this doesn't surprise me once again, because we are having Aries is a big part of these eclipse cycles, and Aries is about the self, right? It's about the physical vessel, and Aries is the baby of the zodiac. So like they are very self-focused. I wouldn't say quite as much as like Leo can be self-focused as well. And I'm not saying these as negatives. I think that genuinely these signs show us how to be a little more selfish in a good way. But I do feel that like that energy, that's how it's going to be showing up for you. If this reading resonated with you, please leave me this emoji down below in the comment section so I know which pile you chose, and tell me what you've been manifesting and how it's been going. I genuinely take the time to read every response in the comment section, so I can't wait to see what you've been manifesting. If you would like to support me a little bit more and get some extra content for yourself, please consider supporting me on my Patreon. Every single week I sit down and I channel astrology, tarot, and bibliomancy for you. And every single month I give you the theme with tarot. And every single month, depending on which tier you join my Patreon at, I also do community events, and we do bonus content, which can include things like vlogs, equipment overviews, extra pick a cards, extra astrology videos. My Patreon is such a good time, and I would love to have you over there as a cozy babe. And if you want even more free content from me, please do consider checking out my podcast. It's called The Cozy Babes Club, and it is literally all things cozy. We talk about mental health, we talk about trends, we talk about everything under the sun. I love my podcast. It's such a great source, I feel like, of more from me, but just it's like where all the context comes together. So if you follow me on socials or anywhere else, the podcast to me gets like all the BTS. So definitely check out my podcast. It's available everywhere you listen to podcasts. Link for that down below. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and don't forget to stay cozy out there. All right, pile number 2, if you chose the sun, this little sun symbol here from earlier, this is going to be a reading on what you can expect for these eclipses. So first and foremost, I see that we have Justice here for you, which this literally is the card that corresponds to Libra. I'm going to lay these down and then we'll go over them. And then we have the Hanged Man reversed. And then we have the Sun card reversed. We have Death in the upright position. It's a beautiful Death card. And then we have the King of Pentacles in the upright position. Okay, so the vibe that I'm getting from this is literally like a sunset on your life. And I don't mean like a sunset like, how do I explain this? Like, I feel like it's a sunset on an era. Like that's the vibe. Like it's the end of an era for you. This is the end of an era. And it doesn't mean that like, please know that this reading is meant to be like confirmation for you. Like if you've already felt like a chapter of your life was closing, this is the confirmation that you were right about that. Okay. But Spirit is saying with your reading, you are about to go through a major transformation with these eclipse seasons. You might have major Aries or Libra placements in your chart. Like you could be an Aries sun or a Libra sun. I would say moon rising. All three of those would be like really impactful. Especially a Libra sun, I would say, because you got the Justice card and the sun symbol. So I feel like y'all could be Libra suns literally. But I do feel, especially because we have the South node crossing through Libra, I myself am a Sagittarius rising. And when the South node crossed my rising when it was in Sagittarius, I went through a complete identity crisis. So this, I'm not saying this to scare you or to fearmonger you. the point I'm trying to make is like, I came out better on the other side of that. Okay. Take it from somebody who's been there. I came out as a better person on the other side. And I think that's really what you're shifting towards as well. Not that you're not great as you are right now, but there's a newer version of you that is wanting to emerge through these eclipses. So justice coming out, this is about fairness. This is about equilibrium, harmony, having more harmony with life in general and with others. The Hanged Man tells me, especially in the reverse, that you're no longer being suspended between choices. You're finally making a choice about something, even if it's a hard choice. The Sun being reversed, I get the sense that you've been really unhappy for quite some time, and you have felt like you have lost a lot, because the Sun is normally about like victory, vitality, good things coming into your life, abundance, having just like really a lot of happiness. And so when I see it reversed, when the sun is not shining, this to me says that like you've been feeling like you've been left out in the cold. You've been feeling like down and like basically hard and done by life. Like it's just not, it has not been the vibe for you lately. And I think this transformation is actually a very welcomed thing. Moths and butterflies might be symbols, or even snakes that really speak to you, which is, if you see them a lot, this is also a sign that you're about to transform. And King of Pentacles, these eclipses are literally going to make you rich. Like I'm not kidding. You also could have Aries or Libra in your second house of personal finance, especially if you have Aries in the second house. This would mean that you would have to be a Pisces rising, I believe. Yeah, you'd have to be a Pisces rising to have that. But King of Pentacles, that's not a little money. That's a lot of money. Okay. It's one of the more favorable cards for financial wellness and financial stability. So that's what this tells me here, is that you are about to come into some serious cheddar, okay? Some serious financial windfall that will benefit and transform your life for the better. Because I feel like you've been living paycheck to paycheck. You have been not raking in a lot. And I think it's because you've refused. Like, honestly, this almost looks like to me like the closing of a business, or like deciding to leave a job in favor of something else. And you maybe have already made the choice before eclipse season, but if you haven't, this is the solidifying of that choice. Okay. And because you choose to transform, literally you close a door and another one opens for you. So up next, we have more cards, of course. So we have this Yang Moon Strength card. So this really is a tough choice for you. This is not something that has been made lightly. It's very difficult for you. It's not something you ever thought you would be doing. And the reason I said this could be like the closing of a business or something is I just got the vibe, but also Yang or masculine energy was coming through very strongly. And it doesn't mean that you identify as a man. It could just be that you really live from your masculine, which is a very like boss energy. Not that women can't be bosses. It's very like action oriented boss energy. And so I do feel like you have had to fortify a lot of strength through your masculine to kind of put this down and like stop fighting with it. Then we have Talk to the Moon, Communicate for you. So Talk to the Moon, Communicate. This card really tells me that like you are overdue for some praying. And hear me out, okay? As somebody who has been religiously traumatized myself, I would never tell you to like go pray to God if that's not your thing. I myself don't do that. But when I say pray, you can literally pray to yourself. Like, I really believe in taking the word prayer back. Personally, I don't think we have to give it to a Christian deity. I mean, if that's what you choose to do, that's your prerogative, and I don't judge you for that. But I do feel like for those of you that like the word prayer is very triggering, don't think of it like praying to a Christian deity. Prayer is something to me that it is either thinking or speaking words in reverence. And I don't actually know what the true definition of prayer is, but I feel like if we take it back and make it our own thing, it doesn't have to mean what we were taught in Sunday school. Okay. you can literally go outside under the full moon and talk to the moon, and that could be considered prayer. You can yell at the moon, and that could be considered prayer. It doesn't have to be reverent, but I do feel like whatever it is that you believe in, whether it is the cosmos, spirit guides, God, a deity that you work with, Mother Earth, the actual earth that grows beneath your feet, anything that you believe in, I think you're long overdue to communicate with that presence. Spirit is saying that you need to like lay something on them. Okay. Lay something on them, ask to be led, ask to be delivered from this, because it's something that on your own without a divine hand, it's going to be a lot harder. And then we have blood moon courage. Again, I don't think that this has been a decision that you are making lightly. I think it's taken a lot of hardship for you to do this. I think you've been hurting a lot over it. And I can see that because you have both the strength and the courage cards coming out. Okay. And this is with the blood moon. And both of those cards, strength and courage, in order to pull them both in a reading, I feel like whenever I see strength, depending on its position, of course, but whenever I see a strength card coming out, to me, it's like you're about to buckle under the weight of everything you've been carrying. And you need to have a little bit more courage in the decisions that you're making right now, because I get the instance that they're not small choices. They might have an impact on you or your family or your well-being or how you live. And again, communicating with something outside of you, I don't say it lightly. I genuinely think it could be such a benefit to you as you go through a hard time. I honestly think that this eclipse season, though you stand to gain a lot, I don't think this is going to be an easy eclipse season for you. I hate to be the person that has to give you that message, but I do think once it is over, you will be happy about what transpired. And I say that because we do have some good news. The good news is we do have regeneration for you, which does tell me that regeneration with the Aries symbol, you are going to be recouping a lot of the energy that you've been losing for staying committed to what does not serve you. The stuff you're letting go of, you're going to be gaining the energy back from that. We also have the card of longevity. So like you're trying to be here for a long time, not a short time. Okay. And your well-being depends on you letting this go, on making a new choice, on deciding to come back to equilibrium, letting yourself transform, even if it's been hard to do that. Your well-being and the longevity of you, like, also, I just want to say, especially those of you that have had to make like hard business calls where you have not wanted to let go of something because like it's your baby or you created it. Can I just be real with you for a second? I need you to I am going to share a little personal story, especially for those of you that have not ever been to my channel before or heard of this. I just feel really compelled to share this with you. Back in like 2017, I'm going to try to keep this brief. I went through my first spiritual awakening. Okay. Actually, it was probably like my second, but that's debatable. We're going to call it my first because I think it was the most eye-opening time. But I went through my first spiritual awakening, and at the time I was working in the gaming industry. I had a gaming channel. I went by the name Coffee, Koffee. You have to search Coffee Sims, and now it's called like Cozy Babes Club Re-Uploads because I plan to use that channel for something else. But that was my gaming channel. It was my whole life. Okay. I got made Twitch partner. If you're familiar with Twitch, I got made Twitch partner. I got flown to San Francisco with Electronic Arts, the gaming company. I also got flown to London with them to like test out Sims games before they launched. Like I was really a part of, to me, like the cream of the crop. I was at the top of my career, and I went through a spiritual awakening. I saw too much from that industry, and I was broken by it. I realized that it was not the future I wanted to see myself in, but I still stayed doing gaming because I felt like I had to pay the bills. Okay. I felt like I had to. And I stayed in the gaming community from 2017 to 2020, still making gaming content while I worked on this channel on the side because I didn't feel like I could go fully into spirituality content. I felt like it was too risky. And when I tell you, yes, I think that was the smart way to do it, was to build things slowly. But if I had just leapt all the way in 3 years earlier, I wish that I had, because I'm so much more fulfilled doing what I do right now. And though I'm still online, I'm still a YouTuber. Okay. That's what I was back then too. I'm still a YouTuber. I still get to do what I love to do now twice over. But if I had let go and just decided to trust earlier, I think the transition could have been easier and a lot less painful. I held on to that gaming channel way longer than I needed to. Like I gripped that with like a metal hand. I feel like just gripping, trying to force myself into every little box. Like when I tell you my channel died a slow and terrible death, I would every single week study my analytics, study other people's channels, try to fit myself into every little box to make sure that people would watch my content, because I felt like I went from like such an obscene amount of views. Like I have videos on that channel that got over 1 million views a couple times. And I went from that to like, I was lucky to break 1,000 views per video. And when that's your livelihood, that's really hard to experience, when it was my dream at one time. And I honestly think that was the result of like spirit nagging the crap out of me to let it go. And it was a hard decision. Okay. That was my baby. I built that business for 7 years and I made it really far, and I made a lot of cool friends in the industry. Like it was not an easy choice, and not everybody supported what I wanted to do. That was probably the hardest part, was feeling a lack of support for the things that I wanted to do, which was this here right now, doing what I'm doing with you right now. I wanted to do this full time. And if I could like impart anything on you, it's like when you let yourself fully close a door, a new door will open. I promise you. It happens without fail every single time. But you have to be willing to let the energy go of what you don't want anymore so that the new can come in. And it feels scary to leap before the staircase shows up below you, but you have to. That is very much the energy that you are sitting in. And I hope that my story was more inspiring than not. It's not because I want to sit here and just talk about myself, contrary to popular belief. It's honestly because that's how I learn. I love listening to people channel, but I love when they share personal stories. It's how I learn the best. And I try to help people learn in the same way. So I don't know if that story helps you, but ultimately you need to take the leap and allow the transformation to happen. You're going to have an easier time with this the more you let go. Okay, we also have emotions are running high. Ask yourself if it's worth it with the flying Gurnard. I'm not sure I'm familiar with that kind of fish, but emotions are running high. So again, I really feel like this eclipse is going to be a high emotional time. It is going to be a time where you're a little bit uncertain. You're going to have to leap before that staircase shows up. Okay. Now we also have spiny seahorse, reversed roles, live your own traditions, values, and norms. Okay. So this is like, remember how I told you that was the hardest part of changing my career the way that I did? I had made so many friends in the industry that I was previously in. And when I felt like I had some support, there were definitely some people out of the woodwork that came forward and really tried to support me. And I value those people to this day. Some of those people don't even know. I probably should tell them like how valued they were for me, like reaching out to me and supporting the changes that I was making. But there were a lot of people that like, I still haven't heard from those people. And it's been years. Like that business can be very cutthroat, and it can hurt when you feel like you are, even if it's unintentional and people literally just forget about you and it's not purposefully done. I don't think any of it was. It hurts when you feel like you are left out of the fold and people don't support what you're doing. But the thing is, when you shift into reversing your role into something different, deciding to let go, and you start to put your own traditions, values, and your own new normal into what you want, you're going to attract all the right people who will support you. I promise. And then lastly, we also have the root chakra for you. I need to read this first and then I'll show it to you because the text is kind of small. So the frequency of the root chakra, the red flower of life, stimulates passion and supports our sense of security on the physical plane, both in our bodies as well as in the physical world. So I really do feel like, especially with all of this chaos coming up for you, pile number 2, you definitely need to make sure you are tending to your root chakra because it is the sense of survival. So this, like red beads, so like carnelian is really good for this. I would say bloodstone is good for this. Garnet is really good for this if you're a crystal lover. Eating foods that come from the ground. So like potatoes, carrots, root vegetables, making sure that you're grounding with Mother Earth outside as often as possible, getting your feet on the bare ground. Things that help. Oh, you can also listen to like binaural beats on YouTube. You can search root chakra music. I like the ones from Meditative Mind. Those are my favorites. I listened to root chakra, I swear to you, for like 2 years during my spiritual awakening because I felt so shook. So it really does help. And those are just like a few little tips and tricks if you're looking for ways. But I do feel like with how unsettling your reading kind of feels, the root chakra is going to be the one that needs the most attention and assistance because it's hard for the other chakras to thrive when the root doesn't feel like it can ground properly. So really paying close attention to that. But if this reading resonated with you, please leave me this emoji down below in the comment section so I know which pile you chose, and tell me what you've been manifesting and how it's been going. I genuinely take the time to read every response in the comment section, so I can't wait to see what you've been manifesting. If you would like to support me a little bit more and get some extra content for yourself, please consider supporting me on my Patreon. Every single week, I sit down and I channel astrology, tarot, and bibliomancy for you. And every single month, I give you the theme with tarot. And every single month, depending on which tier you join my Patreon at, I also do community events and we do bonus content, which can include things like vlogs, equipment overviews, extra pick a cards, extra astrology videos. My Patreon is such a good time and I would love to have you over there as a cozy babe. And if you want even more free content from me, please do consider checking out my podcast. It's called The Cozy Babes Club, and it is literally all things cozy. We talk about mental health. We talk about trends. We talk about everything under the sun. I love my podcast. It's such a great source, I feel like, of more from me, but just it's like where all the context comes together. So if you follow me on socials or anywhere else, the podcast to me gets like all the BTS. So definitely check out my podcast. It's available everywhere you listen to podcasts. Link for that down below. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and don't forget to stay cozy out there. All right, pile number 3. If you chose this number 11, there we go. Come on. There we go. Number 11 on this astrology dice. This is going to be your reading. So we're going to start with these Moonchild Dark Edition tarot cards. All the decks I use, of course, will be linked down below for you. So you have the Four of Swords. You have the Emperor. Oh, Four of Swords reversed, the Emperor reversed, the Four of Wands. You also have the Five of Wands and the Ace of Wands. Okay, so let me just get these looking real cute for you. And then we'll get into talking about them. Okay, so what I'm really getting, or what I got right off the bat here, is I do feel like this eclipse season is bringing in a little bit of unrest. And I say that because the Four of Swords is normally a card that talks all about rest. And so I do get the sense that there's a little bit of unrest. I do get the sense with the Emperor reversed that we are feeling maybe even a little doubtful in our career as well. The Emperor usually symbolizes some form of career, or possibly even a boss as well. Maybe you're getting a new boss or becoming your own boss. These are really big moves for these eclipses. So those are two things that I saw right off the bat. But I also see with the Four of Wands, this is about celebration, okay? So you could be attending a wedding or a party, getting married yourself possibly. During Libra season, weddings are always very popular. I would say October and May are the 2 months out of the year where weddings are pretty well nonstop. And that is because, I don't know if y'all knew this, little secret, little astrology secret for you. Most people, I think common folk, do not know this. The muggles don't know this. But that is because both of those seasons, there's Taurus season and Libra season, May and October, they're both Venetian seasons. They are ruled by the planet Venus, and Venus is the planet of love. So seriously, I know not only did I get married during Libra season, but I know so many people who did. And if not, it was Taurus season. So not everybody, obviously. Some people are here for winter weddings. Some people are here for summer weddings. But I know countless couples that were married during either of those seasons. And you can even ask like wedding coordinators. They will tell you that May and October are the most popular months for weddings. Like you cannot get a date in edgewise unless you plan way in advance. That's how my wedding was. That's why I got married in September and not October. Actually, I'm at like the beginning of Libra season. My anniversary actually just happened the week that this goes out. But 10 years this year. Anyways, that is what this is telling me, is like maybe there's a wedding coming up during this eclipse season. Four of Wands is also just a celebration in general, a celebration of life, a celebration with your loved ones, a party, a family gathering, a reunion. There is something about celebration this season. Ace of Wands tells me that you're also bringing some new ideas in, some fresh passion. Maybe you're going to meet somebody, okay? This might be about love, to be honest. Whenever I see an Ace of Wands, I always have to mention it. This is the Dick card. I'm just going to call it like it is. Like in this deck, it doesn't really look like it. I mean, kind of, it's a little phallic in nature, but I always say it when I see it because it is. It is such a, like, the typical tableau is usually a hand holding the wand, and come on now. Very suggestive. It definitely suggests possibly just getting like dicked down, if you know what I mean. Regardless of the body part, I feel like it's the implication. So that could be it as well. You're like meeting somebody new that you're gonna with. And then Five of Wands, this is the only part that concerns me a little bit for you, pile number 3, is Five of Wands is a very chaotic card. Okay. Also, you can't see it on camera because I have it sitting off camera on purpose. I don't even tell the other piles about this, but I have a black candle going for anybody that enters this reading. The candle is meant to give anybody who comes in here a cleanse. And this candle is letting off so much black soot right now for your reading specifically. I'm not going to put it on the camera because I don't want the smoke going up into my lens, but y'all need to cleanse, okay? The flame is kind of like knocking it off now that I've told you, but y'all need to cleanse, okay? These candles, I didn't put anything on it, no oils, no nothing. It was just a regular ass candle. And I have not seen it do that during this entire reading. And all of a sudden, all this black soot is showing up. So that is a sign to me that you do need to cleanse a little bit. There might be some stale energy around you, little chaotic energy around you with the Five of Wands. Five of Wands is chaos with no purpose. Like it's, you know, sometimes we get into an argument and it actually solve something with other people. This Five of Wands tells me that we're not actually solving any problems. We're just arguing for no reason. And during an eclipse season, I could really see that being a possibility. So We also have for you day, moon, love, which I did say you might be meeting a new like love interest or having a new love connection. So that really does line up with this. Maybe you're going to meet somebody at one of this like event that I'm talking about, this celebration during eclipse season. We also have moonflower, take a risk. So this also could be like taking a risk in your line of work. As I said, there could be a little bit of something going on with your job, your career, your own boss, becoming your own boss, or taking a risk on a person. Maybe you're not somebody that really does take a risk in dating ever, but suddenly the opportunity arises and you're being told to actually take the risk. Then we have out of bounds moon, boundaries. So, okay, this to me has to do with the chaos. I love that there's 3 people walking the desert down here, because I do feel like there may be, again, some argument, some kind of upset that's going to take place during this eclipse for you. And Spirit is saying the best way to take care of this is to have your boundaries about you. Do not allow somebody in to disrupt your peace just because they can. Do not allow somebody to come in and alter your state of being if you can avoid it. Like, make sure you feel right and good with yourself before meeting somebody else for a conversation as well. I feel like there's a lot of people during this eclipse that are going to be flying off the handle, because Libra, the sign that it's mostly taking place, and it's Aries too, because the full moon will be in Aries, which I do think leads to a lot more of like argumentative behavior. But Libra, this is our harmonious relationship sign. So when we have an eclipse here, this can lead to a lack of harmony, a lack of relationships feeling super good. Okay. And not with like this new love interest, if that's you, but just arguments with other people. Maybe people think that you're moving too quickly, or like, just don't let other people don't let other people disrupt your peace. Okay. It's out of bounds. Like, nah, we're not doing that. Okay. We also have for you the card of affection. Listen, pile number 3, I'm so serious. If you're calling in new love, it's happening. Because we also have with this, the Taurus symbol is on this card. And I literally was just talking to you about how weddings take place often in October and May, because it's Taurus and then Libra season. And they're both Venetian ruled signs. So I do feel like there's going to be some new affection, new care, new tenderness coming into your life. I will say, I just heard from Spirit that for some of you, this could be an actual affair. Like, and I'm not putting the shame on you. That's your prerogative. I'm not here to judge you. That's not my job. But for some of you, that could be like, I just heard the word affair, like taking a risk and having an affair. Again, not my place to judge you. But if you're single, I do feel like this could be just like meeting a new potential for you. But having affection come from somebody new. I also want to make room, because some people, it won't be an affair. Like, you're actually in a polyamorous relationship and you're looking for somebody new to add to the relationship. But the affection is coming. There's somebody that has a cat I'm seeing, because we do have this little black cat here. They don't have to be a black cat, but if they are, like, that's even more telling. They also might be somebody that just has like an affinity for animals. Like, that's how you'll know that it's them. We also have hope with the daffodil with another Taurus symbol on here. They also could be a Taurus, or you're a Taurus, sun, moon, rising. I feel like some of y'all that chose this pile have been lovelorn for a while. And so this is like a really big hope for you that like love can finally be a part of your reality, a part of your life. And I got to tell you, with this candle that's been smoking over here, cleansing y'all, I do feel as if this, you have been letting like a lot of, like, Spirit is telling me you've had a lot of stagnant romantic energy around you. Like, there are old relationships that you haven't healed from. There's possibly even someone you're currently with that doesn't love you the way that you would desire to be loved. And this is really not good for you. It leaves you in this very vulnerable place, feeling hopeless, like you're never going to be able to be treated the way you would like to be treated. And Spirit is ultimately saying that yes, you can, yes, you will. You're going to meet somebody new. You need to take the risk on them. Know that you will be given affection, and you're going to be given like a new hope on love specifically. Then we have for you, wait for it, be patient with it, with the moray eel, or be patient with life. So I do feel that like there are going to be, you're maybe moving really quickly on someone or on something. And when it says be patient, I don't think this is about being patient with the person in question. This is about being patient on other people and waiting for them to catch up to your new way of being, your new focus in life, your new love interest. Like I said, possibly a new career with that Emperor coming out reversed. You need to have your boundaries about you and protect this new thing, protect this newness in your life. But know that, like, be patient with others. They will eventually come around. Like, y'all, do you know how many times in my early 20s when I was just trying to figure out life still, I would hear my mother say stupid shit to me like it's just a phase. And I'm like, I'm over here laughing because I'm 32 and I'm still the same. Obviously, I've evolved growing up more and more and getting older. But like, I feel like there are certain things that really weren't a phase. But now I'm never talked to like that. I don't get told that such and such is a phase. I'm taken a lot more seriously. So you do have to be patient with life, with others, with waiting for them to come into like where you are. And then we have out of your comfort zone, you know what inevitably must be done. Okay, so some of y'all, if you're in relationships and this new relationship comes about, if you're not in a throuple, if you're not open to somebody else being in the relationship with y'all, you know what needs to be done. Okay, I don't even feel like I need to say it. And I also feel that if you're afraid to leap, to take the risk, to let your heart be fully given to someone, because that's a fear too, you know, Spirit is ultimately saying, you know what needs to be done. You know what you need to do to keep this love in your life. You know what you need to do to protect it. You don't need even me here telling you this. You know what needs to be done. It will be out of your comfort zone. Somebody might get hurt. You also, when you enter new love, you also risk yourself getting hurt. That is just the brass tacks of being in a relationship. Like, you do risk yourself getting hurt. But sometimes you have to step out of that comfort zone to get to experience that kind of epic love. And then we also have the card of alchemy for you, which I'm going to read it first and then I'll show it to you because the text on it is kind of small and I need to hold it closer to me. The frequency of alchemy activates our magical ability and remembrance of the magic that we all hold inside. Each one of us has the potential to access the ancient knowledge that allows the true alchemist to perform the miracles of transmutation. So I also feel like with these eclipses, I want to say it was pile number 1 that had the card. There was the Temperance card that we talked a lot about alchemy. So if you felt drawn to pile number 1, I would also encourage you to go listen to it. But with this alchemy card, this tells me that you're going to be alchemizing your life. When you alchemize something, you basically take old negative situations and you turn them into golden wisdom that you can apply to your life moving forward. Okay. So when I see the alchemy card, this is always a welcomed thing. This is always a welcomed thing. This is always something that we want to have. This is something that we want to participate in. And actually, I would encourage, if you haven't read the book, check out the book, The Alchemist. It's by Pablo I'm not sure how to say his name. I'm so sorry. But if you look up The Alchemist, like you're going to find it. It's going to be like the #1 search because it was a very popular book, New York Times bestseller, very good book, short, easy to read, wonderful message. I finally read it this year and it was very good. But when you create alchemy in your life, you literally are able to transmute anything, transmute any negativity in your life, any experiences that you don't want to have anymore, any chaos that comes your way, anything that's out of your comfort zone. You're able to transmute and transform those things. And I really feel like these eclipses for you, they are going to feel a little unstable, a little uncertain, and a little out of your comfort zone, but good things are actually coming with them. And the fact that you picked 11 on the significator here, this little dice, that is the number for Aquarius, and the house of Aquarius corresponds to, I just want to add this in here because it might be a theme for you. The house of Aquarius, this is all about community, connection, your public persona. It also deals with communication, technology, travel. So these are things that also may become possible for you during this eclipse season. Don't be afraid to travel during eclipses or any kind of retrograde. Like, it's fine. Traveling is always fine. You just might want to be a little bit cautious of your time and attention to detail. You know, read the plane ticket stuff 3 times. Make sure you're there extra early, that kind of stuff. But ultimately, I do feel like your communication is something Spirit is saying to me that will be changing with this eclipse. You're going to be communicating differently. You might even find that your friendships change too. Your friendships are going to change and be altered during this eclipse season because the 11th house of Aquarius also deals with friendship. So your friendships are going to change. But if this reading resonated with you, please leave me this emoji down below in the comment section so I know which pile you chose, and tell me what you've been manifesting and how it's been going. I genuinely take the time to read every response in the comment section, so I can't wait to see what you've been manifesting. If you would like to support me a little bit more and get some extra content for yourself, please consider supporting me on my Patreon. Every single week I sit down and I channel astrology, tarot, and bibliomancy for you. And every single month I give you the theme with tarot, and every single month, depending on which tier you join my Patreon at, I also do community events and we do bonus content, which can include things like vlogs, equipment overviews, extra pick a cards, extra astrology videos. My Patreon is such a good time and I would love to have you over there as a cozy babe. And if you want even more free content from me, please do consider checking out my podcast. It's called The Cozy Babes Club, and it is literally all things cozy. We talk about mental health, we talk about trends, we talk about everything under the sun. I love my podcast. It's such a great source, I feel like, of more from me, but just it's like where all the context comes together. So if you follow me on socials or anywhere else, the podcast to me gets like all the BTS. So definitely check out my podcast. It's available everywhere you listen to podcasts. Link for that down below. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and don't forget to stay cozy out there. All right, pile number 4. If you chose the dice that has the Pisces symbol on it, this is going to be your reading. So we're going to go ahead and start with these cards. Right off the bat, I can see that we have the Knight of Cups reversed, which does tell me that during this eclipse season, you're not going in with a lot of expectation. Like, you're not expecting good things to happen for you. We also have shadow work reversed. So when I see shadow work reversed, I ultimately feel like this means that there is a resistance to doing some shadow work. There is a resistance to, I honestly think there's a resistance to, it's like there's a resistance to goodness. Like, I think you've maybe even been stuck in a rut where a lot of things, it's been like one thing after another. And so now you kind of just think that that's always what you're going to get. It's always what you expect. And so, of course, you wouldn't expect good things to happen for you if you've been constantly in like a losing season. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. Then we also have for you the Ace of Swords reversed, which tells me there's also been a resistance to cutting someone or something off. I do feel like this is someone that you talk to a lot. There's been a resistance to cutting somebody out of your life that probably would benefit if they weren't there. Then we have the Six of Pentacles reversed, which you're also in resistance to getting paid, girl, guy, person. I'm going to say girl because I call everybody girl, but please insert the appropriate here for you, girl. If you have a skill and a talent, regardless of if you have imposter syndrome or not, you deserve to be paid, okay? You deserve equal exchange. And just because they're family Does not mean you have to give them a discount. Does not mean you have to work for free. Absolutely not. When I see Six of Pentacles, you better be getting paid. And then we have the Page of Cups reversed. So Page of Cups reversed and Knight of Cups reversed. Actually, the Page of Cups, I got those two mixed up. So it's funny that they would both come out, because Page of Cups, that actually is like you expect good things not to happen for you. But when I see Knight of Cups reversed, this could also be like being burned by a person. Possibly somebody that you've had like romantic ties with, or somebody that like you just really expect better from with that Knight of Cups. But Page of Cups reversed is the one that talks about like, you just expect bad things to happen to you. You don't expect goodness because of what you've been through or experienced in the past. And I do feel like there has been a resistance to diving in and exploring that for yourself. And this eclipse is going to bring that screaming to the forefront. So that's kind of the thing with your shadow, is if you don't talk to it, if you don't process through it, it finds ways of leaking into your everyday life. And that's a promise. So I do feel like you need to explore why you don't let yourself feel joy or happiness. Why do you feel like you always have to feel sad or down? And is it because you spend time with someone that always feels that way? Now, don't get me wrong. I think it's a wonderful thing to be with someone and to lift someone up and to be in someone else's presence when they are down. Like, supportive people is what they need. Okay. I'm never going to tell you not to do that. But if this has been like years and years and years, and this person does not take responsibility for their life, you don't need to keep taking responsibility for their emotions. Your guides are being very loud and clear with this. I feel like they could be a water sign. They could be a Pisces, sun, moon, rising, or they could be a Scorpio, sun, moon, rising, or who's the other water sign? People always think it's Aquarius, but Aquarius is an air sign. Cancer, sun, moon, rising. It's like you have let this person really take advantage of your kindness. And I think it has to do with the fact that like you yourself have maybe felt the way that they have felt before, and you wish that you had someone like you in your corner. But the thing is, you can't make them change. You can't make them get better. They have to get better on their own. And when I see the Ace of Swords reversed, I feel like you're afraid to cut them off because of what you think that might mean about you. And Spirit is ultimately saying that it's okay to be the villain in somebody else's head. It's actually better if you let that happen, because I could tell you countless stories in my life, y'all. I have been through the ringer when it comes to friendships. I feel like a lot of the friendships that I've had that I have broken up with or severed ties with, not all of them, but a lot of them, they've all been people that have been people that resemble my relationship with my mother popping up in my life again. And when I learned to heal the relationship with my mom, I feel like people like that stopped resonating with me. And it was easier to spot them and not latch onto them. And it's because I ultimately craved the validation and love from my mother that I did not get. And I always thought if I tried with a new person, I was all unconscious, of course. If I tried with a new person, that person would finally give me the love, adoration, and validation that my mother couldn't give me. And when I finally learned how to adore and love myself, those kinds of people literally naturally fell out of my life. I didn't have to remove them from my life anymore or make a conscious choice. And I feel like for you, this person might be one of those. So looking at the shadow, looking at the past of where you have seen this show up in your life before, this eclipse is going to illuminate that for you. And whether you want to or not, the shadow work is going to be necessary. It is going to show up. And you may even find that you cut this person off during this time period. That I would say is a very normal thing for Libra season, especially during an eclipse. As I stated earlier, Libra is the relationship sign. It is the harmonious relationship sign. And if the scales have been unbalanced, they need to be rebalanced. And as I like to say, I get this from one of my dearest friends, what isn't good for one is good for none. So like if both people in a relationship are not benefiting from the relationship, it's not good for anyone. If one of you gets to benefit, like if the other person gets to benefit off of your good energy and constantly take from you, and you're not getting anything back out of the relationship, even if it's unintentional, like this doesn't have to be maliciously done. It can be very unintentional. But if it's not good for you, it's not good for anyone. What's not good for one is good for none. Okay. Remind yourself of that. Use that as a mantra. And then the Six of Pentacles coming out reversed. This to me tells me that there is an unequal exchange of energy. Now, for some of you, I think you just needed the message of you need to be charging for the things that you do. It is okay and correct for you to charge for the energy that you put out, for the services that you provide. You do not have to do things for free. I'm hearing specifically from Spirit, if you're a photographer and your family thinks that you should just shoot pictures for them constantly because you do it professionally for free, no, you need to tell them what your rates are. We're not getting paid. It's 2023 and we will not be doing that. The other thing is it's an unequal exchange of energy. This person gets more out of the relationship with you than you will ever get out of a relationship with them. And it actually hurts you to constantly be giving your energy to them. Then we have the drawing the moon down knowledge. Okay. I would encourage you to gain a little more knowledge on shadow work. Like just look up YouTube videos on it, see how you can do it. Look for shadow work prompts on Pinterest or on YouTube. You could even look for like journaling shadow work. I'm sure somebody's made a video. I almost could guarantee it. That's something this eclipse, like something you need to do. Then we have Moonstruck, take a breath. You really need to take a break from this person, possibly with all people, and just spend some time in your own energy. I actually have realized that I, as a person, need this. I require this in my life. And I'm at a point where it took me a really long time to admit it to myself without shame. And I'm saying this because I think it might resonate with you. It took me a really long time to realize this without shame, or to not have shame around it, that I'm somebody that requires months where I do not speak to people. It is just like how I get my best creative ideas out. It's how I evolve. It's how I study myself more. And so when I see this take a breath, it's okay for you to distance yourself from people, places, and things and take your energy back. Your energy is not a guarantee to anyone. And anybody who gets fully comfortable with that in their life 24/7 and takes it for granted definitely does not deserve to have your energy around them. Then we have Moonstone, slow it down. It's a pretty card. So Moonstone might be something that you just want to get for yourself. It might be a very comforting stone for you, or crystal, but slow it down. And I'm always going to recommend Bow Life for crystals. Their crystals from Bow Life are so amazing. I have a link down below for them. But Moonstone, slow it down. Again, I think this is really about slowing down, giving more energy to yourself, giving more of your time to yourself, not spending all of your time with someone else, with people that do not honor the energy that you bring to the table. This is really about slowing down and honestly learning how to become your own best friend, learning how to be the person that has your own back. And I always encourage, if you're not sure what that is, because I do think that sometimes we get so far removed from the things that we really love in this lifetime that we'll forget what we actually love because we're so focused on work and relationships and everything else. Go back to what you did as a child. What did you do as a child that brought you pure joy? And how can you connect back to that? Something that I found for myself, if you want some ideas, fiction books and movies were such a huge part of my childhood that I spent a lot of time like watching chick flicks with my mom and also reading a ton of fiction books. And I, over the course of this year, have opened myself up to both of those. I've started renting more movies from home and I've started reading a lot more fiction. I used to read self-help constantly and now I am on my fiction girl era, and it's been so healing and helped me to learn more about myself again. So slowing it down. I feel like those are both activities too that are slower. Something else I'm going to recommend to you is like puzzles, if you like that kind of thing. And if you don't like puzzles, but you like the idea of puzzles, Legos. I know it's kind of an expensive hobby, but if you have money to give to that, Legos are such a good way to stimulate the mind, but like give you something to do that isn't super overwhelming, but like you really can't think about much else when you're doing Legos. You just have to focus on the Legos. So that's actually something that helped me through my panic attack era, was Lego sets. Those were something that gave me like focus so I couldn't sit and just panic all the time. And I don't hear enough people talk about that either. Not saying that that's where you're going to be, but I do feel like that's something that like if emotions get intense during this time for you, that's something that could help you slow down and like refocus, reprioritize. Okay. We also have the card of grounding for you. So grounding exercises are going to be really important during this time, making sure that you're eating root vegetables, carrots, potatoes, beets, also getting ample sunlight if you're able to. I mean, shoot, where I live, we're moving into the rainy season. I don't know how much sunlight your girl is going to be able to get for the next little while. It's actually raining today, which I kind of love, but doing some grounding exercises will really help you at this time. Just like remembering to be in your body, be in the present moment. Then we also have transition with cauliflower. Transition. So this is going to be a really transitional time for you. We also have number 11 up at the top, and number 11, number one, it's number 1. But the first thing I wanted to say is that 11 could just be like a really lucky number for you that you see a lot. But it also in astrology corresponds to the 11th house, which is the house of friendship. It's the house of Aquarius. We talked about the house of Aquarius a little bit in pile number 3. So if you felt called to that reading at all, I would encourage you to listen to it too. But you are going to be going through a relationship transition, a friendship transition. I'm really getting the energy that this has more to do with people in your life, family or friends. I don't really get the sense that it is romantic. I think that the person in question could be a water sign though. Then we also have be the bigger person. Your kindness is your strength with the oarfish. So being the bigger person, this is just like, don't be petty. It's not worth it. It's never worth it to be petty. You know, you might say or think a lot of things, but taking a break or a breath from that person could be the missing piece that would actually help you to feel better. Instead of just like going off on them, actually taking time away to process your own feelings and emotions will benefit you. And then we have just for fun with the koi, don't take life too seriously. So like I was saying, getting back to what you loved as a child, I really feel like will benefit you, pile number 4. Getting back to what you like doing for fun. I gave you some ideas if you feel a little bit lost, but there are so many more things than that like maybe you just love playing outside and you need to put more hikes in your life, or like flower picking or weeding, gardening. You know, there are so many things. Maybe you really enjoyed camping and you need to like, even just sitting with headphones on and listening to like nature sounds, I feel like could do a lot if you were an outside kiddo. But getting back to things that you really love that brought you just pure joy for joy's sake, not trying to monetize it or build a brand or a business off of it, just really getting back to your own energy. And then the last card, I'm going to read it first and then I'll show it to you because the print on it is really small. So I need to like read it closer to my face. But you got the Divine Feminine card, and it says, the frequency of Divine Feminine supports our receptive, nurturing, and soft side, allowing it to express itself openly and helping us to connect to our intrinsic understanding of our connection to all of creation. So when I see the Divine Feminine show up, this is a slower paced way of doing things. You might be somebody that really wants to get more in touch with your Divine Feminine. I actually have a podcast where I talked about that. If you want to listen, it's called the Cozy Babes Club. I don't remember which episode it was specifically that I talked about it, but if you look through the titles, you'll see it. But Divine Feminine, this is like slower paced. It's getting back in touch with your feminine side. It's allowing yourself to be in the receptive mode, the resting mode, the not just always forcing, pushing, productivity, always giving. I do think Divine Feminine is giving to a degree. It is a very giving side, but I do feel like it has to kind of recharge its own energy before it can give. Your whole reading kind of resonated to me on Divine Feminine energy, period. But I feel like your eclipse season is really going to be a lot about letting go of the connections that don't serve you, doing the deep inner soul work, and also just spending a lot more time alone. If this reading resonated with you, please leave me this emoji down below in the comment section so I know which pile you chose, and tell me what you've been manifesting and how it's been going. I genuinely take the time to read every response in the comment section, so I can't wait to see what you've been manifesting. If you would like to support me a little bit more and get some extra content for yourself, please consider supporting me on my Patreon. Every single week, I sit down and I channel astrology, tarot, and bibliomancy for you. And every single month, I give you the theme with tarot. And every single month, depending on which tier you join my Patreon at, I also do community events and we do bonus content, which can include things like vlogs, equipment overviews, extra pick a cards, extra astrology videos. My Patreon is such a good time and I would love to have you over there as a cozy babe. And if you want even more free content from me, please do consider checking out my podcast. It's called The Cozy Babes Club, and it is literally all things cozy. We talk about mental health, we talk about trends, we talk about everything under the sun. I love my podcast. It's such a great source, I feel like, of more from me, but just it's like where all the context comes together. So if you follow me on socials or anywhere else, the podcast to me gets like all the BTS. So definitely check out my podcast. It's available everywhere you listen to podcasts. Link for that down below. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and don't forget to stay cozy out there.